you in a positive way. Today we've got guests joining us, and I've got three of my guests today: Suki, Jas, and Jessie, that will be joining us today. So I want you guys to introduce yourselves.
So Vaigajuka Khalsa, Vaigajuki Fateh. My name is Suki. Most people know me as Suki from the Sikh Channel Breakfast Show. So I've been a volunteer with Sikh Channel for a couple of years now. Yeah, looking forward to discussing today's topic with you all.
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. My name is Jessie. My full name is Jasvinder, and I'm a digital marketing assistant for a luxury beauty company. And I'm also associate with Kiran on Instagram, who asked me to join the panel today for our discussion.
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. I'm Jazz. I'm a hair and makeup artist, and I was asked by Kiran to join the panel today.
So today we're going to start off the topic by, so first of all, I just want to say huge thank you guys for actually joining us and joining the panel. There is a lot of topics that we will be discussing, but for today's main topic is about social media, how it impacts us in the positive ways and in the negative ways. Because if we look at social media itself, to where it actually began, going back to so many years back from generations, we never used to have social media. And ਉਸ ਜ਼ਮਾਨੇ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਚਿੱਠੀਆਂ ਲਿਖਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਤਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ ਫੋਨ ਨਾਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ. So going back from then to now, a lot has actually changed. And ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਜ਼ਮਾਨਾ ਬਦਲੀ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਆ, ਉਦੇ ਉਦੇ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ ਬਦਲਦਾ ਆ. So we're talking about that and that in mind. Talking about today, first question that I wanted to ask is about social media itself, and just with social media, how does it impact us? What's the best thing about it, and what's the bad thing about it? So, Suki, you're going to start off with yourself. So, what do you think? How do you see as social media? Is it a good thing or is it a bad thing, or what's the good and bad of both?
I think it's a mixture of both, really. So it can be seen as a positive tool to use. It's a good way of keeping in touch with people, your friends. At the moment, we all know that there's a big Kisan movement happening in Punjab. So in one way, we're using it as a positive because we're able to see what is happening. We're able to share posts with people that are not aware of what the situation is. So we can use it as a positive. However, I think as we're sort of going through a pandemic, a lot of people are sort of struggling, and I think social media is having a negative impact on those people. Constantly being, told you need to look a certain way can be very tough, difficult on a person's mental health. I, for one, am feeling really low when I sort of see all these posts and pictures of people in sort of in sort of glamorous locations and things. It kind of makes me feel, is that the way I should be looking? And like I said, at the moment, because we're locked in our house and we can't go anywhere, it's got to a point where I'm like, this isn't helping me. I'm just constantly feeling down and sad about it. So I'm trying to limit myself on it. But like I said, we can use it in a positive, but I think at the moment it is affecting a lot of people's mental health.
I agree. Jas, what do you think about it?
I think you just have to be mindful of what you're consuming on social media. I completely agree. Like, there's gonna be pros and cons to it. We're so lucky we get to raise awareness with everything going on around the world right now, and just like gaining knowledge on it too. We're not actually there, and I think I've learned so much in this time. But like during the pandemic, I did take breaks and did find it healthy. I just needed to switch off, and you are constantly seeing things, and it does make you feel type of way, like the overly glamorous pictures, and when you're not feeling your best self, it definitely does take an impact on your mental health. So I definitely think it's really important about what you consume. I was very more mindful of it last year during my first lockdown, where I just had to clear out whatever wasn't benefiting me, or I just felt I had no value to my life. I just removed it from social media, and it just made such a difference.
And Chelsea, what do you think about it? What's the good and what's your opinion on it about social media?
Again, the same with Suki and Jas. It's true. With everything going on around the world, we're more aware of what's happening, and I feel like we can also do our bit and help as well. Raise awareness. In terms of the bad side, we do end up comparing ourselves to other people, what stage they're in their lives, whether they've got a certain job or they're married or buying their own home, and you think, oh my god, I'm not even at that stage yet. And again, glamorizing everything. You sometimes think, you look at people in terms of like following and their likes, and I feel like people determine their value through that. So I'm very like mindful as to what I consume and what sort of content I look at as well.
And so one of the things that I want to bring across, which is a good thing, is Suki, you said about one of the biggest things at the minute that's happening in India is the Kisan, and like everything, the fight for Kisans. We stand with farmers. If there's no farmers, there's no food. And if it wasn't for social media, us across the world wouldn't know what's going on, right? So that's a good thing. At the same time, the bad thing, like we've all said, and even in experience for myself, that we have to look like in a certain way. Myself, that's worked across with BBC. When I was going through with BBC, had to look in a certain way, had to be wearing makeup and dress and sing and do certain acts in a certain way and put posts up in a certain way. And if that wasn't done, then I wasn't seen in the public eye as, I'm competing against anyone, or I don't look good, with anybody else. It's having, I guess, there's a fine line of trying to, you got to do what you got to do to make yourself happy. At the same time, you've also you got to do it if you want to do it. Don't be forced to do it. Like, I think recently, from what I've seen throughout January, I don't know if any of you guys have actually noticed, but the social media, especially on Instagram, it's actually dying down. And there were a couple of weeks when it was dying down, and not many people were getting likes, not many people were doing lives, and it had just gone complete quiet. And I put a question out to say, is it just me, or is actually social media actually dying down? And a lot of people actually responded saying, yes, social media is actually dying down. And do you guys agree with that?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think as well, because we currently are in a lockdown and a pandemic, we can't really go anywhere anyway. So I feel like with Instagram or Facebook, a lot of posts are usually when you're on holiday, or if you've gone out for a meal, or you dress up and you feel good and you want to take those photos. But at the moment, no one's really doing anything. So I think people that aren't, they're sort of sitting at home, and I think they're realizing the impact that it's having on their mental health. So I think a lot of people are taking breaks and probably think, you know what, there's other things that we can do to sort of feel better about ourselves. But I agree. I think a lot of people, like I said, haven't got anywhere to go, so they aren't sharing any posts. But if there is influencers or celebrities that I know at the moment, we've seen a lot of them have been traveling to Dubai, and I've seen a lot of hate and lots of mixed comments about, we're all going through this pandemic, yet they're sort of, traveling and making it seem everything's okay. So there's been a lot of backlash on that. But again, I think because no one's doing anything, I think now, because it's impacting them, they're thinking, you know what, we need to take a step back, come off social media and focus on other things. And I think there's a lot of other stuff that we can do as well to occupy our mind as well at the moment.
Ask all our viewers that are watching this today is that, have you ever tried switching your phone off, whether it's for a day, whether it's for a week, or even half a day or an hour? Have you actually tried switching your phone off? Not just social media, but just completely turning it off and just having the day to yourself. If you actually try and do that, you'll see the impact. And you'll see the impact. If it's not straight away, you'll see the impact in the next actually day and think, oh wait, I actually feel better about myself. I don't have completely switched off from everything else. I'm doing my own thing. You can go out for a walk, go do washing up, do some cooking, do something else, watch a movie, instead of being on social media. Like we've just said, social media is a good thing in terms of creating creating that positivity, creating that awareness, that what we need. Like, for example, anything that's going across in the world, a couple of things that did happen last year was the George Floyd, Black Lives Matter. So that was huge, and that obviously, it went viral. So that was good for that. And now we've got, we stand by farmers, and that's going viral. So for those, in an aspect of that, it's actually quite good because it's a positive thing. We can share an awareness. We can, create an awareness. But the negative side of things are, like Suki, Jas, and Jessie have said, is that it's the mental side of things. How do we cope with it? What can we actually do? Because yes, we need to, in some aspects, when something like that is happening across the world, we want to be there, we want to support, and everyone wants to jump on it, right? But how do we keep ourselves mentally, emotionally, and physically happy? Because too much of it can become, it's almost like having too much sugar, and too much sugar isn't good for you. And you can't have less sugar, because जे चाह च घट शुगर पाइए तो स्वाद नहीं लगदी, जे ਉਹਦੇ ਚ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਸ਼ੂਗਰ ਪਾਈਏ तो ਮਿੱਠੀ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਲੱਗਦੀ, ਫਿਰ ਨਾ ਸੁਦਾ ਸੀਰਾ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਆ. So you got to have a good balance in between. And ਜੇ ਆਪਾਂ mental side ਵੱਲ ਦੇਖੀਏ, that how that impacts us, how do we keep a good balance? Like I've said, if you guys actually tried switching your phone off for the day and actually doing, like, not touching your phone for the day, have you actually managed that? Jas, I'm going to go with you first.
I definitely have. I have taken breaks. I've like switched my phone off, just not been on social media, and it's been fine. I think I found other ways to keep myself busy. I think I'm lucky. I've got a really good support system at home. I live at home as well, so being around that definitely helps. And obviously, for those that don't have that, I can imagine it being a lot harder, and just finding ways of keeping busy. Like you said, there's nowhere to go, and there's literally like going for walks became a bit tedious as well. It's like the same thing every day, and it's just, I think, yeah, just keeping yourself busy. If you can find ways and just do something, like one thing for yourself every day, something that you love. It could be like the littlest thing, even if it's just baking, cooking. I definitely found like myself praying more during this time, and just like found like appreciation of life and just gratitude for everything. I think before the pandemic, we didn't appreciate a lot of things, and it really shed light on how lucky we are to have just a family and just like a roof over our heads and stuff. So yeah.
Jessie, what's your take on it? So have you, because you and Jas, you're both sisters, right? So have you actually taken that take as well of, I know because Jas mentioned it earlier as well, that she's actually took time off from social media. So have you done the same? Have you took time off from social media or switched your phone off for the day? How's it felt?
Yeah, I have. I actually deactivated my social media for a few weeks because I felt like lockdown was really getting to me. And then when I finally went back on it, I limited myself with an app as well. And then just sort of try to live in the now, just find things that I sort of enjoy. And again, it was like going for walks in the evening with my mum, or baking with my sisters, or just sort of like stepping away from my room, leaving my phone in my bedroom, and coming down and making a cup of tea and just having a chat with my sisters. It's nice. You sort of realise that, yeah, everything, we do get very consumed on our phone, and you realise it does actually affect you mentally. So sort of being in the present, I feel like it really does help shed light on mental health and how much we should consume daily as well. So I realised that I had bad habits, which I stopped, and I've sort of determined that I need to focus on, as again my sister said, like one thing that sort of can help me better myself as well.
So my question now goes to Suki. So Suki, you've been working with Sikh Channel for quite a while now, and of course everyone knows you really well enough. So being that obviously on a public platform, people know you. How has it been for you? Have you actually switched off from social media and thought, actually, I need a break? So how has it been for you?
I haven't switched off. I'm not going to lie. I've tried, but it's just so hard. I'll pick up my phone. I'll think, okay, I'll just read one more news story, or have another look to see what's come through. But I'm really wanting to try. But it's just really difficult. I'm not going to lie. But what I have started to do now is put I think Jess said that you can put limits on how long you open up an app for. So it'll automatically tell me that you've already spent, you know, a couple of hours on it. So limit yourself. That's the kind of steps I've taken. But to stop myself completely to deactivate my accounts, I haven't done it. I haven't been able to. I keep thinking I want to, because during the first lockdown, I feel like social media actually helped me. So I was someone that was new to TikTok. So it's the first lockdown in March when I thought, what is this? Everybody keeps going on about it. And I absolutely loved it because it was different to Instagram, because it was something that would make me laugh, make me smile on the videos that I'd come across. And, you know, I'd even learn stuff on it. And then it just got an addiction to where I'd be swiping and it'd be like 2 o'clock in the morning and I'm still sitting on TikTok and I'm thinking, oh my God, this is not good for my mental health. I should not be up this late on these videos. And then I started making my own and I just started thinking, you know what, this is keeping me busy. But in this lockdown, this is when I've realised this is not good for me. This is when I need to sort of stop myself, limit myself. So I'm going to try and do a whole day where I just don't look at my phone. Because, you know, I'm thinking I've got families. If they need my family need me, they can phone me on the house phone and things. So I'm going to try. Don't know how far I'll get. But I feel like being with, like I said, with Sikh channel, I constantly want to see what's happening. I want to see the news. So I'm constantly scrolling on Instagram. But then again, like I said, it's got to a point where it's becoming too much now. And I think a break would be good for me.
So here's a question then. So if we wasn't in a pandemic and you guys, any of us was going on holiday, would any of you actually switch your phone off for the day or even off social media? And if you do, how would it make you feel? What do you think the impacts of that would be? So I'll start with Jessie this time. Jess?
I feel like when we're on holiday, I do feel like we limit ourselves. Well, especially me and my sisters, we do try and take in, like, oh, you know, where we are and sort of explore. And I don't feel like we have time to be constantly like scrolling through social media. But obviously, we do sometimes post things when we like get back to our hotel. But I don't feel like we're overly consumed into it. Which, you know, it always helps. And also, like, the company you're around, you sometimes think, okay, like, we're away from, you know, our mundane 9 to 5 jobs or, you know, our routine, so it's just sort of there just to relax. But yeah, we do try and limit ourselves, and I do feel like you come back a bit more refreshed. But then sometimes we tend to like fall back into the bad habit when we come back home. So yeah, but in terms of holiday, I always feel yeah, we're in a different place, and I feel like your mindset's a bit different as well.
So what do you think?
No, I completely agree. So when I go on holiday, I will limit myself and I want to enjoy where I am, sort of learn about the place where I'm on holiday. I do take pictures and I will make videos, but that's just for my memories. And then if I decide later on to post them, I will do. But for a different example on a holiday, so when I went to Nangana with Sikh channel, that was my first time I ever went with the team, and it was my first experience. So I started sort of, because I was so amazed at where I was wanting to share that information with my followers. So I started to put a couple of stories up or a couple of photos. And then my followers were just like, oh, we're loving where you are. Like, we feel like we're on holiday with you. We feel like we're learning about Sikhi. Like, we didn't know there was this much Sikhi in Pakistan. So they were like telling me to keep posting because we want to see what you're doing. So I felt like every day, everywhere I was, I felt I had to then post for them just so I could share the information of what Gurdwara we were at and why it's so important for us. So that was the only holiday where I constantly did post. But again, that's because I felt like I wanted to share that information. Whereas if I go on a holiday with my friends where I'm relaxing, yeah, I'll tend to just stay off it until I'm back home.
Okay, do you think it depends on where you are and what you're traveling for? So, like for example, when you went to go see Nangana Sahib, or if you was to go on a family holiday, they're two different holidays. So, does your social media then, how much you use, does it depend on where you are and what you're actually doing, or do you not use it at all, or do you limit yourself to say you're going to use it for this much?
I definitely limit myself, but like I said, my social media has automatically gone from my own family account to like where I now, because I feel like I'm sort of representing Sikh channel, I am very cautious about what I post. Like, I don't post any of my own family photos of my nephews and stuff. I've taken all that off. And it wasn't what I was like hoping to do. Like I said, it was just a normal Instagram account. And then slowly, like, don't get me wrong, it's not huge, but the followers that I have got now, I feel like I have to sort of post certain things, like, you know, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't, the kind of person I am, I wouldn't sort of be out partying or anything, but I feel like every post I post, I think so much about it, like, oh, okay, what will people think? Is it going to offend anybody? Have I got, you know, am I coming across in the right way? And that's what I think is how sort of affecting me mentally, because normally I wouldn't think like that. I would just post it, but now I think too much, and I think that's yeah, that's the impact that's having on me.
So when you were doing your TikToks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did it feel like you have to look in a certain way and dress in a certain way, even though, because now that you know you've been presenting for such a while, even if you are doing TikToks and they're supposed to be a fun thing to do, did you still
Yeah.
feel like you dress in a certain way, look in a certain way? How did that
Yeah,
feel?
so I think with my TikToks, because I only like to do a couple of the Punjabi ones, you know, the Punjabi one-liners, that's what I kind of find it entertaining. My mum loves them, that's why I used to do them to keep her entertained. But there's certain ones that I won't do. Not, again, I will fear what people will think of me, but like, you know, where girls are doing at the moment, I think there's a challenge, it's called the Busset Challenge, where they're dancing and sort of things like that. That's not something I feel comfortable doing anyway. So it's, yeah, maybe I do think a bit too much about which ones I do, but dancing ones and things like that, where I'm using foul language, again, I feel like if people are following me, they'll be like, what kind of, you know, what is she trying to get across, why is she using this bad language? If there's any kids following me or something, I would feel really bad if they saw stuff like that. So yeah, I do probably think too much now about what I'm doing and what I'm posting.
And a question for our other two guests that are on the show as well. So, Jessie, what do you think? Do you and your sisters use, you know, TikTok, and have you used it in any way? And how does that feel when you've used it? Do you have to look a certain way or dress a certain way? Do you kind of think, oh, if we put this out, what are people going to think about us? Or what if someone else saw us, like the next door neighbours or an auntie sees us next door watching this? What's she going to say to our parents?
Well, I'm actually not on TikTok, but my sister Jess, obviously she's got a big social media following, and she then joined TikTok in March when the first lockdown. And to be fair, like a lot of her stuff's been more about her work. So yeah, I feel like and obviously I featured on it as my other sister, but you do feel like you have to look quite glamorized or like a certain way, because you constantly, when you're scrolling, you see girls that look stunning and you think, oh my god, like you want people to see you in a state, or like you obviously have friends as well following, so yeah, you just think, yeah, you don't want people to see you at your worst.
So just
It's true. It was very.
sorry, as your sister was saying, you joined TikTok during March time, lockdown last year. So how was that for
Yeah.
you when you first started it to compare to now in this lockdown?
I was actually really reluctant to use it at first, and then a lot of my friends were like, "Oh, it's amazing for work. And there's loads of like bloggers on there and influencers. You might find other people to like connect with. Just a different platform, I guess, to network." So I thought, fine, like I'll join. And honestly, it was really short lived. Like it's such it is in its own way, and you learn so much from the app. Like I think after first lockdown, I never used it again. I took it off my phone, and I just it just didn't last very long. Um, Again, I think you do become very like conscious of what you're putting out there and what you're consuming, and you do. It's just that rabbit hole. Like you can go on one video and spend hours on it, and I was very conscious of that, and I just didn't feel like it was healthy. So yeah, it was very, very short-lived. But I'm not knocking the app or anything like that. Like I know it has like its pros, just like anything, it has its cons too.
So here's a statement. So a lot of people say on social media, not don't believe what you see on social media. It's not true. Most of the people don't actually share what their real life is, and you don't know what the real story is behind every face that's on social media. Do you all three feel that is true or false?
I think it's
100%.
true. I don't feel like everyone highlights their low points as much. I feel like mental health was a lot of light was shed on that during lockdown and during the pandemic, and prior to that, I just didn't feel like it was a topic of conversation as much.
Mm-hmm.
But No, I definitely do agree. I think people are a little bit more. It's hard to be vulnerable online. It's like you're so scared of what people are going to say and if you're going to be judged. And people are judgmental. It's just that's just how people are. And yeah, like you can't change that.
Mm. So, we're coming towards the end of the show now. And what I wanted to say, leave a message for all of you guys that are actually watching कि जो सोशल मीडिया ते हुंदा आ ਉਹ ਸੱਚਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਹਰ ਚੀਜ਼ ਜੋ ਦੇਖੀ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਆ ਉਹ ਸੱਚ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਸੋ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਦੇਖਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਪੂਰਾ ਪੂਰਾ ਸੱਚ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਅੱਧਾ ਸੱਚ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਆ so when we see and view whatever we're viewing on social media every person that's on there ਕਿੰਨੇ ਲੱਖਾਂ ਤੇ ਲੱਖਾਂ ਤੇ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਉੱਤੇ ਆ what we were talking about when we first started our show today ਕਿ when older generation ਉਹ ਅੱਗੇ ਚਿੱਠੀਆਂ ਲਿਖ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਕੋਈ ਤਾਂ ਸੋਸ਼ਲ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਤੇ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਕੋਈ ਉਦੋਂ ਫੋਨ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀ ਨਾ ਸੋਸ਼ਲ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਤਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਆਪਾਂ ਜਦੋਂ ਦੇਖਦੇ ਆ everyone's on social media and social media has such a good impact to create an awareness as a positive but it also has the bad side of everything so if you guys are watching and during this lockdown you have been using social media don't feel down or low because you think oh we have to look a certain way on social media. It's okay. Just be yourself. You can limit yourself off social media as well. You don't need to always be on it. Do other things. Try switching your phone off for the day or for a couple of hours. You can even try that and go for walks and try different things. As all our guests have been on the show today, they've all given their own opinions and own views. And I think, if you guys try that, it will be definitely a good impact. And before we do go, from all of our three guests, I want them to give a positive message to all of our viewers and some advice or feedback that they can give to viewers that will also help others watching. Suki, we'll start with you.
Yes, I just want to say to everybody, we are going through a pandemic, a lockdown, and I know a lot of people will be struggling, but do take that break off social media, find something else that you can focus on, whether that's spending time with your family, whether that's, watching something on TV, a new show, but just take that time out and just, give yourself that little break, and I think it'll do you lots of good. And reach out to somebody and reach out to your friends and family if you are really struggling. Like I said, it's okay not to be okay. Reach out to us and we can help. So take that break. That's my main tip.
Jas, we'll go with you.
Going back to what Suki said, I agree. I think it's okay not to be okay. Don't be so hard on yourself during this time. Also, you're not alone and you matter. So don't be hard on yourself. There's people here to help you and you'll get through. We're all going to get through this. Everything passes. So, yeah.
Jas, lastly with yourself, what's the feedback or message you want to give out?
I just want to say be kind to yourself and don't consume, too much social media where you're comparing yourself because comparison is a thief of joy. And in the end, don't worry about, not being productive during the pandemic. Take this time to relax and figure out, what you might want to do, try different things, and just enjoy this break.
So I just want to say a huge thank you for all three of you actually joining us today, and for all of our viewers that have actually been watching today as well. I hope कि थानू ये थोड़ा जिहा beneficial मिलिया होगा देखते ਨੂੰ, and it will hopefully inspire you and help you one way or another. ਤਾਂ ਦੂਰ ਕਿਤੇ ਜਾਇਓ ਨਾ, ਅਸੀਂ ਫੇਰ ਆਵਾਂਗੇ ਇਸ ਸ਼ੋਅ ਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਕੇ, ਤਾਂ ਫੇਰ ਹੋਰ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਬਾਤਾਂ ਹੋਗੀਆਂ, ਤਾਂ ਫੇਰ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਫੇਰ ਜੁੜਿਓ. But for now, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ.